It's President's Week in the British Columbia Football Conference, and today we're speaking to newly minted Mike Botterill. So new that I forgot your name.
You're not the only one, Blake. Don't worry.
We're actually we're just at the end of the 2019 Okanagan Sun annual general meeting where Mike, you were elected as president. I guess let's just step back and talk about who Mike Botterill is, your hometown, how long you've been in the Okanagan, that sort of thing.
Oh, thank you, Blake. Yeah, I grew up in Ontario. I played football at McMaster University, spent 4 years playing football there, and was fortunate enough to be drafted into the Canadian Football League, where I spent 7 years playing with Montreal, Edmonton, Hamilton, and Calgary. Moved out to the Okanagan about 6 years ago. Been helping out with the football team at the coaching level, board level, fundraising level for the last 5 or 6 years, and very excited about the new position.
We're talking, the whole concept of President's Week is just to put a name, I guess, in the business community with the junior football teams. You played university, you played in a big city, and then you played professionally. So let's just talk about junior football and the Okanagan Sun in a city the size of Kelowna. How would you compare where you've been when you're looking at the visibility of the junior football team in Kelowna versus professional and university teams?
I'm very optimistic about the fan support that we've been receiving over the past 5 or 6 years that I've been around. I do think that the football organization is growing. At the board level, we've got an amazing board of directors. Our volunteer outreach and people really being involved in this football club makes it more of a family type dynamic. It takes a lot of work to get a junior football program up and rolling and successful, and kudos to our board of directors, our past president Les Wise, and all our volunteers. But I see 2019 bringing in Lawrence Nagy as our new GM, Jamie Borum as our new head coach for 2019. We couldn't be more excited about the impact that we're going to have, not only on the community but also on the gridiron. And also being able to, really put the focus and our mandate being on instilling good character in these young men.
You talked about your board of directors. You've got a big group this year, 35 board of directors on the slate. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about running a football team. And I know you're new in the president's role. How many people do you need, other than coaches, to run the Okanagan Sun? You've got 35. What could you bare bones do it with, do you think?
Well, it's tough. There's so many moving parts with running a community-run football team. I think we've done a really good job at the board level for the last many years of really being able to connect with people in our community. Being able to have people that are passionate about the sport of football out, sitting on our board and taking part in some of the events and everything that we do. And that's been instrumental in the success that we've had as an organization, and that's something that we're just continuing to build on. But it takes so many people to make this organization skate, and again, we've got a great group of people that are pretty committed to making this experience the best we can for our kids coming in.
Fair to say you're going to suck the life out of every 35 board members and get them all working hard?
Absolutely. I mean, that's part of the fun, is the collaboration that comes in. I mean, a lot of different people from a lot of different industries here in town, and just getting people together, ideas generating, and the collaboration within our board of directors. And like I said, I mean, we're just excited to get going on 2019.
During your board meeting, the club was talking about a video initiative that fans will hear about more down the pike, but outgoing President Les Wise had a very good point. He said with regards to the video product that is pumped out to the fans has to be good this year. Last year, the Okanagan Sun, I said we were going to talk so much about on-field product, but last year, I guess, fair to say was a disappointing one for the club based upon which expectations were. How important in junior football in the Okanagan is a winning product for the Okanagan Sun? I mean, maybe that's a silly question, but do you think it's more important in Kelowna than, say, perhaps Chilliwack or Kamloops, who's not been winning as often, where the Okanagan Sun have a winning history? Do you feel pressure?
Well, there's always going to be pressure, and again, that's the kind of pressure that you want running a football club. Is you want to be the top dog, you want to be the team that everybody's gunning for, and we take a lot of pride in the things we do. We were disappointed as an organization how we ended the season last year, but again, those are the things that kind of fuel the fire. That bad taste that's left in your mouth from a season maybe that you didn't accomplish all the goals that you set out to do. But at the end of the day, it's a time for us to refocus, recharge, and make sure that we're putting the best foot forward for 2019.
The junior sports landscape in Kelowna, and it's funny, a few minutes ago you'd mentioned about the board of directors putting their best skates forward, I think was the analogy you used. In terms of the junior sporting dollar or the sports dollar in the Okanagan, the Sun, you're fortunate enough that you're not competing with a university football team, say you're not competing with a professional CFL team like in Regina with the Thunder they are, but you are competing for part of the season at least with high-level hockey teams. You've got the Kelowna Chiefs, you've got the Westside Warriors, West Kelowna Warriors, and then of course you've got the Memorial Cup past champions, Kelowna Rockets rather. Where do you see yourself, or have you thought about where you see the Okanagan Sun fitting in the hierarchy, for lack of a better word, in the sporting community in the Okanagan?
I don't think, we don't put too much emphasis on the hierarchy. Obviously, hockey being a huge Canadian game, we're not going to reach as many it's not built into the culture here in BC quite as much as hockey is. But the things that we can control are, how we're able to help build at the grassroots level, how we're able to help be a part of, football at the high school level, and basically take a leadership role on in our community, at all levels of football, so that we can continue to progress this sport and develop players here and offer them an opportunity to come out and play for the Okanagan Sun. So
I want to touch back on the football question on the high school topic that you brought up, but just back to the junior sports again. The Kelowna Rockets, being the Western Hockey League, as you said, we're in Canada. If you're a football fan, maybe you're in the wrong country. Because we are second fiddle to hockey, but with the Kelowna Rockets and the magnitude of that organization, how successful they are, do you have any plans? And maybe I'm throwing an idea out to you. If I am, I'll take credit for it. Have you thought about reaching out to a Bruce or Gavin Hamilton and just seeing how their organization runs? Not to compare the Sun to that, but any idea that maybe you can pick up some tidbits from them on your new role?
Yeah, well, I think that's a great idea, and we'll have to implement that, Blake. But yeah, anytime you can work with other teams that are kind of in the same boat, and that means also reaching out and talking to other teams within the CJFL, just so we can the more collaboration we have, the more discussions, conversations, the things that are working for us, maybe the things that are working for other teams that we can adapt into our practice, we'll be a lot better off.
You brought up football, high school football in Kelowna. We don't have a lot of high school football here. We've got Rutland, we've got Mount Boucherie, we've got KSS, the big school, and now OKM, I understand, is back. I know in the last few years, the Sun have maybe felt that you've lost some players from the high schools here that have gone straight to U Sport. How do you stop that? We all talk a lot about when a player is ready to play university, and not so much physically, but we're talking scholastically, that some players go to university that aren't students, that maybe should be playing football. The Okanagan Sun have a very successful scholarship program. Do you have a vision of one day having no players from high school moving on to university right away? What level have you talked about that?
Yeah, it's a great point, Blake, and it's obviously one of the an issue that we have dealing with junior football is that a lot of these players, they do have their sights set on playing at the CIS level and that sort of thing. And again, our job is just to create the awareness of, if you're not quite ready to go away to school yet, maybe you're not, don't have marks to get into universities. Junior football is just a great place to come. We do have a scholarship program here. We do provide jobs for people as well. So,
what do you say? I guess let's word it this way. What do you say to a young man that is maybe coming out of KSS or Boucherie, and he says, "I really want to go to school," but you know that he's maybe not a student, because maybe the coaches have talked to him and said, "Look, this young man's a C student. Mm-hmm. The burden of going to university and playing football and going to school is going to be a tough nut to crack." I guess what would you say to that student to try to keep him playing junior football? You're not wanting to keep a player out of school. Ultimately, mm-hmm. education is where it's all about. But if you know that maybe the university route, at least today, isn't right for that player, I guess what would you say to him? Maybe I'm peppering you with a question you weren't expecting. So.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I think obviously just being able to mention if they do want to pursue a career in football, and they've got aspirations to play at the professional level. We do have some contacts through the BCFC and the BC Lions to be able to showcase some talents at evaluation camps and that sort of thing. But also with our scholarship, you don't have to go to university or go to college. There's trade programs as well that work for that. So I mean, we're able to attract people that maybe aren't necessarily on the path to university or college, where we can still provide some value in helping them, build on some tools that they'll have for the rest of their life.
Speaking about the scholarship program, I'm sure you want to give a plug to your biggest benefactor, JDS Energy and Mining, and Jeff Stibbert. Let's just talk about how valuable that company has been to your scholarship program and to the success of the Okanagan Sun the last number of years.
I can't say enough about the support that we've had from JDS. There's so many community partners that really go out of their way to help this football club out, and it's generosity like that coming from the community. It really goes to show that people are buying into what we're doing, the product that we're doing, but most importantly, some of the skill sets that we're developing in these young men.
Just in the background there, I don't know if anybody noticed, Les Wise walked in he's on his phone there actually. Les, come over here for a minute, we're doing an interview.
I was just going to say we're going to Cactus downtown.
Okay, well we're doing an interview, so you have to get in here for a minute. Right. Les Wise, former president of the Okanagan Sun, handing off the reign. No, you share it.
Okay.
Les, we're doing a feature here for President's Week.
Hang on, let me pull up a chair.
Talking to all the presidents in the BCFC, and Les, we're talking to Mike about the franchise, the businesses, and the business aspect of it. You've been with the Okanagan Sun for 36. Moving here a little bit.
36 years.
You've handed the reins off to Mike. I'm going to put you on the spot right now as the outgoing president, and maybe you've done this already. One piece of advice to give Mike.
Recruit board of directors. I think that's the important thing, and I think we seen that tonight in our turnout, that we've got some real strong board of directors that are coming in. It starts at the top and it works its way down, and I think that's probably the most important thing right now. What we've seen in the last few years is our directorship has grown from probably 7 now to 35. I think that's the most important thing. Just as our coaches recruit, I think that any organization, I think it's important that you have a strong board of directors that can do all the fundraising and all the things that need to be done on an ongoing basis. And I think that's where we are right now.
Mike's had a bit of he's been immersed a little bit. He was at the CJFL annual general meeting in November, but the other presidents in the BCFC fairly well. You've been around a long time. Let's just talk about the British Columbia Football Conference, and for lack of a better word, the camaraderie between the presidents and just your thoughts on the other 5 men and 1 woman, Brenda Curry and Chilliwack being the exception there.
Right.
Let's just talk about the other organizations and the business relationships, the friendships, the makeup of the British Columbia Football Conference. That, just for people watching this may not know, all volunteers. You guys are, we joke about company cars and things, but everybody is doing this. You're doing nothing but losing money when you do this. So let's just talk about the other presidents, the friendships, and talk about the other organizations in the conference.
Well, yeah, that's a real valid point that you know, I've talked to a lot of people about in the last. Going to the AGM in Saskatoon last year, got a chance to sit down with some people, obviously, who've been involved with the league for a number of years that we have built some relationships with, and I've mentioned to several people that it's probably the best group of people that I've seen in this conference for a long time. They've got some continuity. They got some people who've been involved, and you know, I know how hard it is, and I couldn't commend Brenda Curry and Chilliwack, and how much effort that they've had to put in to take that program to where it was, and they get it. You know, they understand exactly what's involved to build a program now, and we get along very, very good. And I think that that's been very good for the league. That there's some continuity, like I said earlier, in as far as the presidents go in the league, and I think you brought it up earlier, Blake. I think that it's going to be a dogfight this year, talking to all the other presidents. Sounds like everybody's going to have a good club. But more important, like I said, I think everybody's got a strong board of directors and a strong group of people running their programs, and it shows on the field.
We're packaging President's Week as kind of a business commercial and a fan commercial to the community for each team. So I'll ask both of you, and again, I'm throwing this out at you again at last minute, but just say what you want to the business community to get their support for the Okanagan Sun. Say what you think you have to say to the fans to come out and watch junior football this fall. Let's give the Okanagan Sun a plug in the central Okanagan.
I'd say to people who come to the game or support the team that it's a great product. We got kids who are going to school, kids who are working. I think that takes a lot of dedication for anybody to put on 35 pounds of equipment and practice in this temperature and go out and give it their all. And I think that we have a great product, and I think that for a family product, you can't beat it. There's a lot of people have told me there's no better place to be than the Apple Bowl on a Sunday afternoon in the middle of fall. Mike?
Yeah, just to touch on what Les was saying, obviously, you know, for our corporate sponsors and business partners and community partners, just a big thank you. We understand, you know, we wouldn't be able to operate and do the things that we do without your support. So, again, thank you to you, to the fans, to you know, our season ticket holders, our billets. There's just so many people that are involved with this organization. So again, it's a opportunity to say thank you. We're looking forward to 2019, and we can't wait to have you out at the Apple Bowl next year.
Thanks for doing this, guys. We appreciate it, and good luck to the Okanagan Sun in 2019.
Thank you.
Thank you.